Hello, everybody. How are you? I hope that all is well. So, this is impromptu. Um, just doing this for a friend. So, she should be here shortly. Just make sure that she has the link to this live. So, I hope that all is well. Um, and we are going to get going as soon as she is in the room. Um, this is Ayana, grief coach, and hey, how are you, Jalea? Um, hold on one second. Just trying to make sure she's here. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. I like to come online and get straight into it. So let's see. So I am Bernadette Henry, and I am, like I said, I'm here. There were some technical difficulties going on, so I'm letting my friend use my account to run her live. Hey, Ayana, how are you doing?
Hi.
Yes, so I am here, Bernadette, and I am here with Ayana, the grief coach, and she is going to conduct the live. Unfortunately, there were some technical difficulties, but she is here. Today on this episode of the show, I'm thrilled to be speaking with Ayana Thomas, grief coach. In her work as a coach, Ayana has a lot of experience helping people cope with and find peace after loss. We'll be talking about strategies and methods for grieving, searching for the silver lining in difficult times, and reconnecting with your higher purpose after suffering from loss. Join us as we dive into this important topic and explore what it means to manage grief in a meaningful way. So, Ayana, take this away. Like I said, this is your show. I'm kind of here and I will participate in any way that I can.
Hi, guys. I'm Ayana, the grief coach. I have a grandson out. That is All right. Sorry about that. He wants to hang out with grandma. That's not happening right now. um, Again. Hi, guys. I'm Ayana, the grief coach. I assist both women and men who are grieving a loss and feel stuck. Learn how to focus their attention on healing and finding peace with grief so that they can make healthy decisions and develop an action plan to move forward. Growing through their pain and beginning to live a life on purpose. Grief is hard, finding help doesn't have to be. That's why I'm here. Tonight, we're supposed to be talking to Jessie DeAntignac. Do you see her backstage?
Do you see me? Do you see me back?
Breaking up.
I don't have a visual on her, though.
I'm backstage. Oh, hold on one second. Let me go to the link. Hold on one second.
I can hear you. Bernadette.
I sent her the new link. So she's on. Mm-hmm.
Okay. From this computer, can I go live, or do I have to have my phone set up a certain?
Okay, I'm backstage.
I have to back the new link because she's in the old link.
I'm still in the old link.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. I clicked on the new link. It said I was in the backyard.
Oh, maybe I sent you the wrong one. Let me see. Hold on. Let me make sure I sent you the wrong one. Hold on. Let me just send it again. Maybe I sent the wrong one. All right, there you go. Try the new. I just sent a new one to you.
Okay. All right, I gotta let it refresh.
She's at the backyard. I died.
It's still the same one. Okay, there we go. All right, Lord, baby Jesus.
My goodness.
All right, I think I'm in this time. All right.
My goodness. So Bernadette, I'm kind of like just live.
Oh,
No, no, wait.
She might be on my phone. She was on the phone with me. That's what was happening.
Oh, let me hang it
There
up.
you are. Hey, Jessica, how are you?
Girl.
I hung it up.
Okay, there you go.
Bernadette, am I still breaking up?
No, we hear you.
Yeah, okay, okay. Hi.
Hello. Hey, everybody. So before we begin, let's reset. I am Bernadette Henry, and I am here with Jessica and Ayana. I am kind of the third wheel in this live. I am letting y'all use the page. So y'all are here on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So I cannot relate to all of the things, but I do the little that I do know of grief. It's not only grief of losing a person, but it could be grief of losing an object, a pet, a job, a significant other. It's just so many factors of
So
grief.
many factors.
But Ayana is the specialist here, and y'all go ahead on and take it away.
Thank you.
Well, Jesse, I want to thank you for taking your time, all this time, for us to get it together over here on this end of the platform. I just wanted to say, Jesse D'Antignac, I had your whole. Now I'm all over the place. Look at this. Look at this, Bernadette.
Oh, it was craziness.
Look at this. Look how we all over now. But it's okay. It was a busy moment. Stuff happening. Jessie is actually from New York, and now she lives in North Carolina. She has written 13 poetry books, as well as she is a small Black business owner called Jessie's Teas. She is also in accounts receivable. She's a manager there, and she's been there for a few years. She's a wife, and she's a mom of two beautiful children. And she'll be discussing sibling loss, surviving sibling loss twice. So I thought it was interesting, not only one sibling, but two. So I'm going to give you the platform with introducing yourself. You know, I already said where you're from, but tell us your sisters' names.
Well, hi, good evening. Thank you for having me on this platform. This is my first time actually speaking out loud. You know, talking personally is one thing amongst your intimate settings. So, my baby sister passed away first at 17, actually. Um, Janice, her name is Janice, the Star Bellinger. So she passed away during childbirth. And one of my oldest sisters, Shamika, she just passed away. It's been a year and some months now. She passed away on Mother's Day last year. So one older and one younger. Yeah.
Because it's two of them, I'm gonna just say, can you describe some of the personalities of Janice and Shamika, like who they were, so you can get an idea?
Well, my baby sister, she was feisty. She was feisty. She loved dancing. She was very shy, very, very, very shy. Growing up, she wouldn't even, we would call her Janice, but she would consider herself Danis. She like, you ask her what's her name, she like, Danis. So that was like a ring to her. And she was very, very bashful, but at the same time, pretty outgoing when it come to dance. As long as you're not paying no attention to her, she was very outgoing with that. And actually participated. She was able to participate in quite a few, dances in the community in Brooklyn, actually. And my older sister Mika, we called her Mika.
Mm-hmm.
She was the complete opposite. She was straightforward, straight to the point, no chaser. She was she definitely was about her business, very independent, always on the go. She didn't take nothing from nobody. And definitely a very loving mom. She's always been independent. Growing up, she was the one directly older than me that I looked up to. And my baby sister, I was the one directly up to under her or over her that she looked up to, but she had a few of us.
Question: when you said Janice passed away in childbirth, did she pass away as well as the child pass away?
No, my niece, thank God, she's still living. She's 14. My sister, uh, she had her, and she selfless, the choice to let her child live. So her daughter's living. She have her name, identical name.
Mm-hmm.
just the middle name Janice Dominique
Mm-hmm.
versus Janice Lestar. That was my baby sister.
Mm.
So she passed away after she gave birth to my sister, to my niece.
Wow.
I
Wow.
was home.
Wow. How old were you?
All right. You go tell. I think I was 26. I'm 40 now, maybe 28,
Okay.
29. I was in my late 20s. I got the call first. So
Mhm.
I 5:58, October 28th. Every
Wow.
day clockwork, I wake up because that was the time to call when my mother called me. But she didn't call me like my mom didn't call me to tell me, hey, she had the baby. That was the call. The call was, hey, she had the baby. She was walking out. They was cleaning her up. And I'm like, yay, she did it. She did it. And the doctor walked up to my mother while I was on the phone. And my mother told me to hold on a second. And the doors were still open. And the doctor told my mother that my sister had passed away while I was on the phone. So we found out she was there, but I was on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
That happened. So that kind of scarred me with my little sister. Absolutely scarred me because she was laying there. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Wow.
It was horrible.
Wow. Shamika?
Mika, Mika was a shocker. Um, my sister was very independent, and my mother had 11 children,
Mm-hmm.
so 6 boys and 5 girls. So to be clear, so Mika was like the bridge, you know, everybody come to me, right? So we all had our individual relationships with her. But she was a shocker. She had her health issues like all of us did, but COVID, and she was very private. She was not the type to go through something and be on the phone calling everybody, asking anybody. If she wasn't already speaking with you and you were not already in her, consistency of communication, you didn't know what was going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
She was very private and she didn't want nobody telling her, her business. That was how she was. But in the interim, she had COVID. I had just spoke with her. I was literally the day before she was texting me because she couldn't really talk. But
Mm-hmm.
she texted me and I was gonna have my husband to bring her husband's we was gonna bring her some food in the hospital. She was at the point she could eat a little bit. So it
Mm-hmm.
was literally Saturday. I spoke with her. And my last text with her was her telling me thank you because she knew that I didn't have to, make sure she had nothing to eat, but she was saying thank you. And for her, to me today, I honor that because that was big of her. So big for her in some ways. So the next day, I saw, I'm ready and preparing and getting the things that she asked me for. And I actually saw on social media, unfortunately, because she have younger children and they're kids. They're not our age.
Right.
And and I was in disbelief. So I called her and she had just passed.
At home or she in the hospital?
Hospital. She was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. She was in the hospital. She passed away. So it was rough. It's rough. It's a little more salty, like fresh wound with her, because I still really haven't processed. She just checked out. So she's a little still sore. I still deal with that one. My little sister, it's been some years. So for me, I've been able to open up and try to understand. And when I found out that, she made a selfless decision, it was a choice had to be made, you know, can't do that but respect that. And, appreciate that she didn't leave us lonely, period, you know? So God made her. That was it. It's just hard. It's hard. It's hard.
Mhm. Um, I've lost a sister as well, so I understand that stuck in process place. Very recent, like you. Do you have like funny stories about your sister? Anything you'd like to share with us, particularly?
I'm trying to think. Well, my older sister is dysfunctional, so
I mean, dysfunctional is the new functional. What are you talking about?
it's like to me, I have six brothers, right?
Right. I could imagine.
Sisters, but I am so inconsistent. Like I am the sister that everyone invites that never shows up.
Oh gosh.
So my sister Mika and me, we used to have a lot of functions. After we like things change. We all grew up different.
Mhm.
Everybody has a different story. No two siblings have the same story, right?
Mhm.
But we're all the same mother, same father. We
Right.
just different things.
Personal. Everyone's different and unique.
Experiences at home.
That's
Everybody has a different one, right?
Yep.
So me and my baby sister, she was the shy one, but it was other kids, between her and I. So
Hmm.
it's like she was my baby sister and clung to me, but more or less like looked up to me. But I was like my little baby. But I had a lot of siblings, so I didn't really have to, watch anybody because we were all like right behind each other in age. But my sister Mika, she was the one that, growing up, it was we literally 2 years apart.
Oh, wow.
Like so me and her were like a year and almost 2 years apart. So me and her, it was so funny. Growing up, I used to get into fights and I would go run to her,
Mhm.
everything, even in school and sixth grade. I used to go to IS 192 in Queens.
Mhm.
There was this one girl bullying me, and my sister was in the eighth grade, and I was in the sixth grade. And my sister, one day I went there crying. She said, "You stop crying." She was like, "Where's she at?" And we supposed to be in class because the bell had already rung, but she was graduating out the school, and I had just gotten to school. I was a scrawny little tiny thing. And
Mhm.
sure enough, we supposed to be in class. She definitely went into my class, walked me to my class, walked right up to the girl and punched the girl in her face and beat the girl up in the class. But the girl was really tall. She was like 6'1". She was out of order. But she beat the girl up, and then we both got in trouble, of course, but it wasn't a point. It was the point we both got in trouble because she didn't go to her class. She went and got that bully for me.
She
So
definitely protected her sister.
yeah, so growing up, so I had that. But then the flip side to that was when we got older, even though she had my back when we were younger in those ways, when I got older, I was a little rough because I had, had quite a bit of experiences with life. So I got a little more aggressive with things. And then I ended up trying to protect her,
Right.
when somebody said, so we was dysfunctional. We really was just dysfunctional. Hey, she
Yep.
want to turn up and I just want to stay home with a blanket. You know,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Opposite.
very dysfunctional, but nobody, I felt like with her, I felt like if anybody ever saw the original Sparkle, like I felt like I was the Sparkle, the little sister, like not the drug part, but the older sisters. I'm talking about just like that relationship, like no matter what, I understand my sister type thing. That's
Right.
what it was. It was like as dysfunctional as all of my siblings and we are and were. I understood them. I just understood them.
It's a brother sister relationship.
Yeah, yeah, you really, I don't care how much I've seen people lose their parents and they're like, there's a void there. But it's like, growing up, you always know it's a lot of us, right? Everybody don't have so many siblings. So,
Right.
growing up, you take it for granted. Like I got a couple of, I ain't got the food with them right now because I got a lot of them, right? But
Right.
it's like they pass away and it's like, dang, so I ain't got those two no more. So now I'm like, I got two sisters left. Now I'm the little sister, and I got two older sisters. I don't have no little sisters, and I don't have no sister like right here. My
Right.
sisters are my two oldest sisters.
Older.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's not the same as it's just not the same. The baby, it's just not the same. It's not the same.
Question as an auntie, how are the children doing now that their moms are not here? Do you keep in contact with them? Are you playing a role as like an auntie mommy? Like, what does that look like?
No, honestly, to be honest with you, I'm gonna keep it 100
As you
and
should.
very transparent.
Mhm.
So with my baby sister, when she passed away, I immediately was, with the baby. That
Mhm.
was my baby. But
Mhm.
at that time, my older sister had more experience with children. She already was a mom, so the decision was made, she was with her. Over the years, we all kind of dibbled and dabbled, but she was raised with my older sister. And now I had an opportunity recently to have her here with me for a little while, but due to my health issues, I can't, take on that at
Right.
this time in my life. But communicating wise, it's not where it should be. It's not. But not because of nobody's fault, just life.
Mm-hmm.
It's life. And with my older sister children, she lived a very private lifestyle. We are not the Huxtables or the Cosby show. And we are the real deal African American family that, my sister lived her lifestyle private with her husband and her children. And, you have to respect people's space.
Mm-hmm.
When you raising your children a certain way, your children, and something happens to that mother or that father, that child is going to stay with what is safe and
Mm-hmm.
what is familiar to them. So if they were not already, if I wasn't already there on a consistency where they saw me often to
Mm-hmm.
try to overwhelm them with my attendance, it would do more harm than good.
Good.
Forcing something, I like things to be organic. So I have great relationships with my nieces and nephews, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't force the relationship. No.
Being that you said all of that, and we know that we've probably, who's ever lost something, and we're speaking specifically about someone, we wish sometimes that heaven had visiting hours, right? So if you could sit down and have a visit with your sisters today, what would that conversation look like today, right
I
now?
would, for me,
Hmm.
honestly, I would probably just cry. I probably couldn't get a word out because it's hard. I would cry. And
Okay.
I'm not an emotional, I'm not a crybaby, but like when I went through complications to have my firstborn, my son, and when I was in that trance where I flatlined at the hospital, that was who I saw. That brought me back to life. I saw my baby sister holding a baby. She had my baby. She had my son, and she was holding him, but she was at the foot of the bed. So I was going to her, and
Mhm.
I just was like, Janice, I was so glad to see her.
Right.
I wanted to go with her, and she kept, walking away from me. And she was like, "It's not your time. You can't come." And I was like, "I just want to see. I just want more time with you." And I
Right.
was saying that to her, and she was like, "No, it's not your time." And she walked away, and she was like, but she was holding my son. So
Hmm.
I woke up, my husband was sitting over me, crying with my son, holding my son. So for me, it was just one of those. She saved my life in that moment and brought me back. But I wanted to go with her. Like I just was glad to see her.
Automatically to
Yeah,
yeah. I know also with Shamika and that they were private and that you're still in a very young place with grief. I like to say there's no ending to grief. Grief is a journey that you continue on in healing with. It's not as intense
mhm,
as the time goes down the line, but nonetheless, it's still always going to be there, right? It's
mhm.
something that you always carry. It's a part of your DNA, I like to say, right?
Right,
It's
right,
now who you have become.
mhm.
What about it is the struggle for you? Because you said you haven't really processed. Like, is it, I lost a sister, shocking, impactful. She wasn't in the hospital. She's coming home from the gym. Shocking, impactful, right? Like it knocks you off your feet.
I think for me, because I grew up and I've had a lot of challenges growing up, right?
Mhm.
So trying to find myself through whatever challenges I went through growing up, trying to find my own identity, right? So for me, with all of my challenges as a young girl through my teenage up into my adulthood, my sister was my go-to, Mika, my older sister. But we kind of like we were close, then we were apart. We were close, then we was apart. Like we had a very dysfunctional sisterhood, right? So for her, it's a lot more bittersweet because she was 2 years older than me. So I was able to have more experiences with her
Right.
versus my baby sister. Like that's my baby, she's younger. So it's just because I literally had it before my sister had passed away. And this is my honesty. I haven't spoken with her verbally for
Hmm.
a period of time before
Hmm.
she had passed. over foolishness.
Mhm.
We lost time over misunderstanding.
Mhm.
Till today, I couldn't tell you what the reason was. Taking people for granted, right?
Right.
And we lost a good period of time. I would say a couple of, especially the last 3 years, I lost time with my sister. I may have spoken with her throughout those time period. I may have saw her, but that sisterhood that we once had, it was not the same. So when right before 2 weeks, that whole experience with her being in the hospital,
Mhm.
I didn't even know she was in the hospital. I just genuinely had reached out to her, I think 2 days before she actually went in and just was checking on her. And she was saying how, her daughters had just came home and I think somebody was sick in the house and it was going around her house. And next thing I knew, she was in the hospital with this. So it was just like I had just got her back. You know what I mean? From me
Mhm.
not communicating with her, period, to
Mhm.
not just communicating with her because my mom is sick. So it's so many different variables. Like when it came to my mom, it was me and my sister, me and her,
Right.
that would take the initiative to do different things, not because everybody else, but we were just more accessible to get things done with certain areas. So now she's not there for that. So it's a lot of pressure that it's a lot. And then it's the whole thing where now I ain't got my partner. I can't.
Right.
Me and her could get together and talk about a few of them. You
Right.
know, nothing bad. It just was what it was. Everybody have their go tos with the siblings. So now it's just like,
Now you don't have that. I want
yeah. So it's just
you
good.
said you said a lot in 26 minutes. So I want you to do this because I always put your hand here.
Breathe, right?
And just take a breath. Just take that in. Just take that in. Take in your wine and take in that breath. I should have one too, but and take
Yes.
in that breath. And then I want you to close your eyes for me. Just close your eyes. You don't have to turn the lights off. Just close your eyes. And I want you to think without thinking, but just tell me what you would tell her if you can say one last thing to her today, to your sister.
Thank you for telling me. Thank you. Yeah, that was my last conversation with her. I had never got that from her. Never.
And I wanted you to do that for a reason because I noticed through my coaching, a lot of this push and pull that is happening in the grief is because sometimes we feel like we needed to say something and we didn't get that minute. We didn't get that moment. We never had it. We cannot go back, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes if you just free yourself from that little piece, your grieving process it probably hasn't started. For some of us, it doesn't start automatically, right? It's something that can happen down the line. So now that you've kind of said that, just hold that with you. Just hold on to that for a little while
I
and
think
process
part of
that.
me selfishly, I didn't want to because when she had passed away, I was I was okay. I was okay. I knew she had a rough life. Like when my baby sister passed away, I didn't hold it because it was hard to let it go. I kind of felt like, damn, they kind of escaped some of this stuff. Like a little jealousy actually. Like, dang, y'all just left me with all this foolishness. Sometimes I'm
Mhm.
just like, damn, it's a little bit of anger. It's that, heck, I can't believe you left me. Like, you know what I went through. Why did you leave me? But with her, it was just like, damn, we were so different when we finally got back in communication. It was so different. And now I go on live every day and I'm like telling people, like, yo, just live because you just don't know. I lost two sisters. And, you know, yeah, I got a lot of brothers and sisters. I get it. But just because you have a lot, it doesn't take away from each individual value of the relationships you build. Like I would feel the same with all my siblings
That's
as
right. No one is replaceable.
because nobody is
Nobody.
is is as dysfunctional as we all are in our own way. We still of the same cloth. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So it's like we all still act alike as much as we don't want to and we don't like to acknowledge it. We still one. So it's like, dang, I lost an older one and a little one, and they both the females.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's just rough. So
I'm,
for me,
go ahead.
I'm just like for me, it's just I didn't want I wasn't ready to let her go yet. I feel like once I take that deep breath, I can't hold that no more. And I guess part of it is a crutch. I kind of it makes me feel like I'm closer to her because every time I think about her, I just remember that last text, like literally the night before she said thank you. We
Mhm.
went through a lot of shit, and this girl said thank you for me bringing food out of all the stuff.
And what seems so little is really so big, right? Because in life, I think the little things we miss the point are really all the big things.
Yeah, so it's like
As you went through all of this and you're faced with, all these losses, because you've had many losses. We said loss doesn't have to be the death of someone, because we can go on and on about some losses and some trauma. However, we're on this topic today. How do you feel about your mortality now? Like, what does that look like for you living your daily life, not having your older sister or your younger sister? What does that look like for you?
I mean, for me, honestly, I've been blessed. I'm a little bit more fortunate because although I don't have my older sister and my baby sister, nobody can replace them. God put people in my path that the kind of affirmation, the kind of support that I need emotionally to keep me because I suffer with depression. I've gone through depression. I've had a few. It's just my
Mhm.
own little thing that I don't like to speak the negativity behind it. So, I live it and I do what I have to do for myself and I keep it pushing. But I have other women, that can't take their place. Let's be realistic.
Right.
But I have a support system of a sisterhood with women and I have a lot of encouragement. So when I have my moments, I'm able to vocalize them. It's not like when I was growing up, I was quiet a lot. I'm able to speak and put my words out where I can have that network of women to talk to. So in that way, I feel a lot more fortunate than some people go through.
And you are. And that's why, excuse me, because I have a little cold. And that's why I do the work that I do, because some people don't have that person.
Yeah,
Some people don't have a safe place to have that conversation. And some people can't work on things just alone.
yeah.
It's almost like a accountability person, right? That's what like with a coach. People wonder how you do that with grief. You do, because it's like any trial in your life that you need to move through. Some people need a little. And
And
so that's why, you're very lucky to have that, because some people do not have that type of support.
I still need therapy. I still do.
No, and you should get it.
Yeah, no, I have therapy. I started therapy.
Okay.
Because even talking, you got to be honest with yourself. Even if I like on a personal note to communicate, no matter how much you go to your day ones and the people you can talk to, when you go on to them on a consistency and it's always bad, something bad is happening, whether it's your fault or not, if it's a consistency of bad, you are draining their energy if you're not restoring it with positive energy back into them. So it makes it hard to communicate to people because it's like I can't give you. I'm fighting
Hmm.
every day to push my energy to keep moving and going and fighting the demons, because depression has its own window, to
Hmm.
push you over that cliff, especially when you're already down, is hard. And then for me, so I go into my spiritual realm.
Right.
I go to the church. For me, therapists, people, all of that is good. But for me, I have to quiet my mind. I put on
Hmm.
some gospel and I literally I worship.
Hmm.
I worship. That's how I get through my storms. I listen to gospel and pray and practice, act like I can sing, even if I
I was going to sing too.
can't.
um,
Yeah, I
as we
do.
move on in this few minutes here, I just want to know, as now you're at this place, how do you plan to honor the memories of your sisters now that they're not here?
Well, I still feel like I have a lot of work to do with my relationship with both of their children. But the most of it is like for my little sister when she passed away. because I'm a survivor of it, and I don't like to say victim of incest and molestation.
Mhm.
I started my first charity, Faith Conquers, with for in memory of my baby sister Janice, and I actually wrote a book about it. It's on Bookymon. It's called Faith Conquers, which is faith after incest, the truth hurts, courage over yourself, and eventually recognizing strength. So every letter symbolizes something, but it was in honor of her because I felt like she was taken away from the world before she got a chance to even live.
Right.
So, for young girls that didn't get a chance to tell their story, or for young girls that may be going through stuff, I started that for them. And, it just it didn't push, the support when you're talking about problems behind people, doors. That's not a topic that a lot of people is going to go through. So it kind of just like, it's my charity, but it's not where it needs to be to actually make things change. And for my sister, I just have to find a better way to build a better relationship with her daughters, periodically. They're older, so it's a little different. But not too
I'm sure it's challenging, but I wanted to say, your organization, Faith After Incest, incest is that what you said? Faith.
Yeah, it's for victims. It's Faith Conquers, but it's for victims of incest and molestation. Mhm.
Okay. I'll have another segment on that because childhood loss is a real loss, and people need to talk about that. And it causes a lot of other losses down the line because of that one situation that changed your life. But that's another conversation for another time. And I'm sure I think
That's why we didn't even go that way.
and I'm really going to do it in a group setting. Probably, Bernadette would be better. Like pick four panelists, probably have that conversation, and because it's different for everyone, but yet a big loss, right? And then what their journey was with that. I just wanted to say that maybe now might be the time to put that out again, Jess, or make it. You're in a better space, so maybe now you revisit that, and it might look different for you too as the years have gone and you have changed. Sometimes if you revisit something, it might.
That's why I put it back down. Nope, I had a whole breakdown. I thought I was over some stuff.
But
And
you don't get over some stuff, and breakdowns are okay. You do not get over it. You go through. You do not get over. You are blocking yourself. You're
I,
blocking yourself.
yeah, you're right. I'm gonna work on it because I wrote an autobiography. Because after I did all the poetry books, I wrote two scripts, writing scripts for storylines, and then I did the autobiography. But when I left it for 2 months, and I went back to read it, and then that's when my Pandora box for emotions that I didn't know I had. That's when everything opened up, and then that's when I was like, I'm not over things like I thought I was. So that's
Because
why I said, because faith conquers is me.
I have Bernadette. I think you want to say something.
And you know what, Jessica, you made a very valid point saying that you had to put it down because you weren't ready. And it's very true. Like that's kind of that victim versus survivor mentality. So right now, you may still be in that victim mentality. And quite honestly speaking, it's like you cannot bring somebody else where you haven't gone. So if
Mm-hmm.
you know that you need that additional therapy, you need to work through it.
That's
So
why,
you can only take the client as far as you've gone. So
yeah,
like if you've gone through this traumatic experience and you kind of still get triggered very easily and you can't turn it off, like that's as far as you're going to be able to take that client. So
right.
once you
That's
work
why I
through,
started
everything that you need to work through, and it's good that you definitely acknowledge it. You said, look, I tried again. I'm not ready. I know I still have the work to do. And not to say that we can't help people while we are, because life is, we're always ever evolving. But you already know, okay, I need to do some additional work to even feel confident that, things won't affect me as much. Because at the end of the day, things are always going to affect us. But, like I said, you made a valid point, and I think that you are doing some great work. And I do encourage you to continue to do that work. And when you do indeed feel comfortable, pick it back up. It'll always be there. But in the meantime, whatever you do have out there, it will still impact people in the meantime. And maybe you're going to have to just impact people through the back end. So if you have that book, yeah, fine. People can still do it. Maybe you're just not in a position to maybe hold groups or one-to-ones or things like that. But if you still have that literature, guess what? It's still going to help somebody along the way until you're ready to like help people in other capacities.
Yeah, because honestly, to be honest with you, before I even wrote the autobiography, when I started it, I had a following of young girls. I had a forum, and I was communicating. Just trying to provide places or a hotline because
Mhm.
Safe Horizon is really for victims of domestic violence.
Yes.
So they just throw sexual assault and rape, but rape and incest is really not the same thing. It's a violation, but it's not the same. But the
Mhm.
gist of it is, I had that following until I thought I could do an autobiography and
Mhm.
figure I would inspire someone else. So growing up, I put up a wall. So I didn't remember so many different things, right? So
Mhm.
writing, it was easy. It was just like typing. You ain't got to feel no emotion attached to typing, you know? So when I went back and read it,
Read it.
God says, slow your roll, honey. You got to remember what you went through in order to get through what you're going through. So I had to pump my brakes so I can acknowledge and feel what I need to feel, speak it out loud, and then moving forward. That way, when somebody asks me a question, I'm not cringing every time because that's what, it was happening. So I'm better with it now, but I'm not ready to
Are
try.
you specifically seeking therapy for that? Is it something that you're specific?
Yes, that's a part of my therapy as well.
Okay, great. I
Yes.
say because picking a therapist is complicated sometimes within itself because you're trying to figure out what you really want to talk about, and sometimes for a lot of us, there's a lot of topics to touch. So you want to make sure this person is well equipped for all these topics we're about to give them.
That's what she said. She did. She told me that she was like, so it's so much to unravel because you
Yeah,
got childhood, then you got the abuse. There's so many
right,
levels. So she trying to figure out where's the safest to start at.
right.
Without it's a lot. But I'm not my story. That's a part of my life that I've lived, and I'm past that part. I've already defeated. I'm not no victim because I've already grown so much. Like my memories of my past doesn't exceed my now. It used to,
Mhm.
it doesn't. So it's like my life is so full now and I'm happy. And no matter what my struggles are day to day with my health, I'm happy. So it's not like before where every time I go to sleep, I have flashes and stuff like that. Like I'm at the healthy place where that's a part of my past. It's not a conversation I need to have. That's not, it's like if somebody asks me, I can be straight up with you. But otherwise, it's a part of my childhood. That's not me now.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. Uh, I'm better. Yeah,
Journey. I like to use that word. It's just
Charlie. I don't remember it as much, honestly. So I feel like I'm in a great place, but I can't lie and tell somebody if I'm in a forum and somebody say something that might click a memory that I never felt the emotion as a child, and it opened that Pandora box. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's fair to go in halfway if just because I'm driven by it and passionate about it. I just want to make sure I do it the right way because I don't want to hurt
you
nobody.
do some damage. Yeah, you
Yeah,
do some damage.
if I don't have it together. But either or,
Back to sibling loss.
yes.
That's another
So much,
topic.
right? So much more. But
Surviving sibling loss. What would you say to another sister or brother who lost their sibling today?
don't lose another second. You know, don't lose another second. It's okay to have healthy distance in relationships. You don't have to be under people every day, all day. You don't have to. But just make sure if you decide that you don't want to communicate on a consistency, make sure that your last word to your sibling was I love you or something positive that you could live with forever because forever may just be sooner than you think. So I would say don't take time for granted because we just don't know. COVID came and we thought it was over. And
Hmm.
we got comfortable and then we got hit and we can't go back. So I would say don't take time. If you don't want to speak to your siblings on a day-to-day basis, that's fine. But at least when you speak to them, be in a good place with them and be happy about it.
And I want to thank you. I want to
Thank
thank you
you
for
guys
sharing.
for having me. I know we got so much going on over here, but
It was something else today.
it was a long night, girl. I'm gonna finish this wine.
I wish I had some.
But thank you.
I thank you so much for coming on, Bernadette. I thank you for being a lifesaver. She just came out of nowhere. She was the social media angel.
You're very much welcome.
That was so funny. Bernadette, I guess you can tell us how this works. I don't know how you'll see this, how we play. Go ahead, Bernadette, shoot it.
Well, I know while we were live, I kind of shared it to my Facebook and tagged you, so y'all could have kind of shared it to your Facebook if I had access while we were live. Because this is on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, on my those channels. So,
Cool.
yeah, I have the link. I have the link in the caption. So if anybody wants to go to your website, to share it to your pages, and yeah, very good discussion. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, all beautiful souls. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.
Definitely was not frustrated with the process.